Hello, brothers and sisters. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I decided yesterday I was going to take a break and just relax. I've been so busy, my health has been suffering, and so I thought I would just, take a break and relax some, enjoy some time off. I forget that I'm not as young as I used to. So gotta learn to take it easy once in a while. But welcome to my channel. I noticed that we are growing. Just over 2 days, 5 new people have joined. This is awesome. I love it. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't always show me who joins, so please give me a shout out if you've just recently joined. I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This makes me feel great that knowing that even though it's like 35 people, just 35 people, 33 people, it warms my heart to know that having started off with 14 people, and probably all those were like friends and family, but now I'm up to 33 people. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I hope that soon I could see thousands of people streaming to my channel to see what I have to offer. Hopefully I can offer some insight to your knowledge of the scriptures as well, and a knowledge of the gospel. So don't forget, this year, in fact, I'll be doing the videos later, I'll be starting a new section where it's going to be for my ministering families, but I think I'm going to share it with the world as well. It'll go to them first. Well, maybe I'll put it on YouTube and then send it to them. That way it's easier. I'm still trying to learn all this technology. If it would have been 10 years ago, this stuff would have been a piece of cake for me to figure out, and I would have had better technology. Right now I am using my iPhone SE2 to do all the recording, even though I have a newer, I should say, iPhone 12. And I've got to get, my boss, thanks to her, gave me a laptop. I got to get it updated to Windows 10, even though here in a couple months it's going to be no longer supported. It'll be at least something, and maybe I can start learning to tinker with it and trying to figure out how to do editing, how to try and find an opening song, be able to include pictures and everything as I do this, because I see these people that have all these nice things, and I'm like, I wish I could give my subscribers the top quality that I see some of these other channels. But for now, I'm happy to be able to just provide the scriptures with them. I know God will provide it in his own due time, and that's where my hope is in Christ. Christ provides all things that's needed, not wanted. Even though I have few things I would want, but that's neither here or there. So today we're going to be doing in 1 Nephi chapter 3. And this one actually has some really great stuff. And here in this chapter, we'll also see how we'll go about things, trying things ourselves and not relying on God, how it affects our choices. All right, so let's start. So Lehi has had another dream or vision, and in it, he's been commanded to send his sons back to Jerusalem to get the brass plates. Now we read here in verse 3 says, Laban hath the record of the Jews and also the genealogy of my forefathers, and they are engraven upon plates of brass. Now, you notice how he's talking to Nephi casually about Laban. How, you know, kind of like they've known him for a long time. He's family. But how close is he? To be this familiar, to refer him in such a familiar way, he would have to have been anywhere from first cousin to third cousin. And that means, you know, they grew up together. So that would actually make it a little harder for the things to do. But they also knew how wicked Laban was. They knew that he wasn't one for keeping the commandments of God. He may have even just simply been a treasurer, a military commander. I wish we had more information on him. I mean, Laban seemed like an interesting man, and it would have been interesting to know more about him. So, when Lehi is telling Nephi about this, Lehi goes, Behold, thy brothers murmur, saying, It is a hard thing which I have required of them. But behold, I have not required it of them, but it is a commandment of the Lord. Now we think about what the Lord is actually asking them to do. Well, it's not the easiest of tasks to do. They know that Laban is a mighty man. They already know this. It's pointed out at the end of the verse, but they already knew all this. But yet they went and did this anyways. So, Nephi, I love what he says. I wish more Christians would have this attitude of Nephi's willingness. And when he says, I will go and do the things which the Lord hath commanded. For I know he gives no commandment unto the children of men, save he shall prepare a way for them to do what he has commanded. How beautiful a statement is that? If every Christian heart was to be like that, I think there would be less selfishness in Christianity. More people willing to put aside of their wants to make sure the needs of others are met. You know what I mean? I mean, this is a beautiful way to have phrased this. And we'll actually see another variation of this later. So Nephi and his brothers decide to go up to Jerusalem, and it's not a short distance, it's a 3-day journey. I could just imagine the conversations they were having, the troubles that Laban and Lemuel were causing. And then when they get there, here's the first attempt they do. They decide to cast lots. We read here in verse 11, it says, And we cast lots, who of us should go into the house of Laban? And it came to pass that the lot fell upon Laban, and Laban went into the house of Laban, and he talked with him as he sat in his house. Okay, continuing. And he desired of Laban the records which were engraven upon the plates of brass, which contained the genealogy of my father. But behold, Laban got angry and thrust him out, calling him a robber, and tried to kill him. So, even this silver-tongued layman, as wicked as he is, he could not get it through on his own, using just his silver tongue. Now, why do I say that he has a silver tongue? It's guessing. It's pure guessing on mine. Laban is a man of the world, and so I'm sure him and Laban got along in many aspects. Probably spent quite a time talking about many things. We don't record it, but you just don't come into someone's house and say, okay, I want to have the brass plates. No, you build up, you eat food, you talk, see how things are going with everyone, and you work into it. And Laban decided that it wasn't worth it. So kicked him out, threatened to kill him, set Laban running for the gates. So Laban and everyone was very sorrowful. They were depressed, and Nephi, ever the optimist, he goes, "Behold, I said unto them, that as the Lord liveth, and as we live," here's a covenant talk, "we will not go down unto our father in the wilderness until we have accomplished the things which the Lord hath commanded." So, what's Nephi's plan? Nephi's plan first, get all the wealth that was left behind, both not only in their house here in Jerusalem, but also in their place of inheritance, where the tribe of Manasseh would have, their home tribe, where their stuff would have been. So they gathered all this wealth, massive amounts, and brought it to Laban. And they tried buying it. They tried buying the scriptures from Laban. Well, I think they underestimated the greediness of Laban. Oh, it's starting to snow out there pretty good. Here, have a look. Oops. I can't turn this over. Here. Look at that. All that beautiful snow coming down. Kind of wish it would have came down Christmas time. Okay, now back to the story. Sorry, we need the moisture. So Nephi says, "Wherefore let us be faithful in keeping the commandments of the Lord. Therefore let us go down to the land of our inheritance, for behold, he left gold and silver and all manners of riches, and all this he hath done because the commandments of the Lord." So I can see where Nephi is coming from. He says that we have all this wealth that we've left behind. Let's see if we can use this to buy the plates. Okay? And continues on, verse 17. "For he knew that Jerusalem must be destroyed because of the wickedness of the people. For behold, they have rejected the words of the prophets. Wherefore, if my father should dwell in this land, after he hath been commanded to flee out of the land, behold, he would perish. Wherefore it must needs be that he flee out of the land." So we've seen a few on the when we did the first Nephi chapter 1, that the prophets were being killed. We find that in Jeremiah chapter 26, Elijah, who fled to Egypt, he did it not so sneakily. He did it very casual, left to Egypt, but the king's men found him and killed him. This is what was happening to the prophets. Now remember, Jeremiah is alive at this time. I'm sure Nephi and Lehi are friends of Jeremiah's. And so when Pepe Le Pew's out there, when later we'll see what happens to Jeremiah. We know that he dies. This is recorded. This is something that's been recorded. Okay. And he goes on and he says, and also that we may preserve unto them the words which have been spoken by the mouth of all the holy prophets, which have been delivered unto them by the Spirit and power of God, since the world began, even down to the present time. So there's many writings of Isaiah, Moses, all these prophets. And there's some that didn't make it into the Bible, which I hope someday we're able to get those writings. Because all those prophets' writings, could you imagine everything that's been written that's in these brass plates? I can't wait till these come forward. This is going to be an exciting time to get this. And yes, they will be coming forward. It's been promised here in the Book of Mormon, and we'll point it out later, okay? Now, in verse 21, and it came to pass that after this manner of language did I persuade my brothers that they might be faithful in keeping the commandments of God. So he had to convince them, because you got to admit, after Laban got chased out, being accused of being a thief, and just being told he's going to slay, yeah, that would put a little fear in that. So we see here in the second one, it says, and it came to pass that we went down to the land of our inheritance, and we did gather together our gold and silver and our precious things. And after they had gathered these things together, we went up again into the house of Laban. Now, Laban was a very wealthy man. We know this because he's keeping the record. He's military man. So they go to the house. There's the animated stories of the Book of Mormon, and it shows that each of the brothers has a sack, a massive sack. But I would like to think that the wealth of Lehi was so much that each brother would have had to have 2 sacks, or even a wagon full. And they offered this to Laban. Now, here's what is recorded in verse 25, and it says, and it came to pass that when Laban saw our property, that it was exceedingly great, and he did lust after it, even insomuch that he thrust us out, and sent his servants to slay us, that he might obtain our property. So the greed of Laban was so great that he went and just said, you know what, I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm taking it. I'm going to kill you so you can't say anything. He tried killing them for his property. We see that type of thing going on now. Okay? Now, Nephi and all of them ran, leaving behind all the worldly wealth. And when they got outside of the walls of Jerusalem, they hid in a cave. And here's what happened. And it came to pass that Laman was angry with me, and also with my father, and also was Lemuel, for he hearkened unto the words of Laman. Wherefore Laman and Lemuel did speak many hard words unto us, their younger brother, and they did smite us even with a rod. So they were angry because they still don't have the brass plates, and two, now they have lost all their worldly possessions. Now we see here in verse 3 that even Nephi, who is a man of God, first relied on Laman doing his silver tongue talk to try and get the plates. We found that dealing with people like that, it wasn't successful. Then they tried buying the plates. These were all the wealth that they had, the worldly wealth. It didn't help. In fact, they almost lost their life again, and they lost the wealth. Now you notice the theme in each one of these. They were absent of God in the plan. And that goes to show you our plans here on life. If God is not involved, you're likely not going to succeed. Now, does that mean even with God's plans, things will always work? No. Because God, even though God is great and can do anything, there's sometimes that we mortals can screw up a plan of God because we don't listen to him. It's when we hearken into his word when things start to go right. And it's in his own due timing. Remember that. That is a important part. Now, as Laman and Lemuel are beating their brothers with a rod, hold that thought. My door's opening. I have to lift my door just right because I have the window open right now because the cool air feels kind of nice. So here, as Laman and Lemuel are just beating the tar out of their brothers, behold, an angel appears. And here's what the angel said. He said, "Why do you smite your younger brother with a rod? Know ye not that the Lord has chosen him to be a ruler over you, and this because of your iniquity? Behold, ye shall go up to Jerusalem again, and the Lord will deliver Laban into your hands." Now, notice what he says here. The Lord has chosen him to be a ruler over you. Remember, in the Jewish culture, it's the older brother who's responsible to be the ruler over the family when father passes away. This really hit the ego of Laman and Lemuel because they're the older brothers. This really didn't feel good to them. It's like a punch in the gut. You know what I mean? So he's after he departs, and I like it in the cartoon that he heals Nephi and Sam. But it doesn't say that, but it's a cute thing to think about. No sooner did the angels depart than we hear Laman and Lemuel being their usual pessimistic selves. It says, "How is it possible that the Lord will deliver Laban into our hands? Behold, he is a mighty man. Behold, he is a mighty man, and he commandeth 50, yea, even he can slay 50. Then why not us?" Oh, the pessimistic viewpoint. I'm sure Laman and Lemuel thought they were realists, even though these terminologies are new, modern times. I'm sure Laman and Lemuel they would call themselves realists because they saw things as they really are. Laban was a powerful man. So he has at least 50 men under his command, soldiers. If he could slay 50, that's pretty impressive. But they're but Laman and Lemuel, they're like, how can we do it? We're nothing. We're insignificant. Laban is so powerful. And tomorrow we'll learn how. So join me tomorrow as we continue to read 1 Nephi, and we'll be going into chapter 4. You guys have a wonderful evening. I hope that you had a great day. And read chapter 4 and see how much doing things God's way will improve your lives. If you've been trying to do something and you can't do it on your own, seek help from God. Until tomorrow, my friends, God be with you. Remember that I love you and I pray for you guys. You guys have a great day tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow night.